"Knock, knock," said the man through the door. "Knock, knock," said the man through the door. When he opened his door, Kirk Churpedley was splashed with falling rain. Leading his guest to the dining room table, he stopped to peer out at his swimming pool anxiously. "Is your swimming pool okay?" asked his guest. Grumbled Kirk Churpedley. "Well, anyways, I made a stew." "Oh, good," said his guest. Trent Hems pulled out a bottle of wine. "Do you have glasses?" "Yes," said Kirk, "but I don't like to drink." "Nonsense," said Trent Hems. "This wine is too good to miss, and I can tell you are stressed about your swimming pool." Kirk looked out to his swimming pool, flashing in the lightning, rain dumping down on it. Perhaps a drink would take the edge off. Outside, the rain poured heavy on Nettie Hoyt. He walked to the steepest angle of the hill, at the base, put his hand into the wet grass, pressed. His hand sank into the grass, into the gooey dirt. His arm was inside the hill, his shoulder. He felt the earth absorb him, suck him up. For a brief moment, he couldn't breathe. He almost choked on the rain. The grass, the dirt, the goo. The sound of rain stopped. Nettie was inside the hump. From a distance, Yira Peoples looked through her binoculars. She was waiting for the signal. That was the signal. The television of Rose Roud played a strange show. Yira Peoples walked into the room, gave the ascended Rose a loving kiss on the eyeball, walked to the button, lifted it, turned the knob to the designated number. Beneath the Churpedley house was a hill, but this hill was not, in actuality, a hill. It was a ground hump. And now, in this moment, while Trent Hems distracted Kirk, while the spiritualists descended on the Churpedley property, Nettie Hoyt zenched this hump. Above, Kirk Churpedley laughed heartily. Trent Hems was making a very silly face and doing a funny dance. Trent Hems poured more wine for Kirk. "So, why do you spend your time with those weirdo psychics?" asked Kirk. "Skeps are non-believers in the VORTEX world. They are very foolish, often ugly people. Skeps are best to be avoided." But Trent Hems was an enticer. He was especially skilled at talking to Skeps. So Trent Hems coolly sat next to Kirk, overflowing his wine glass. "They aren't just weirdos," said Trent. "They're downright crazy. Do you know they believe that your house is actually not sitting on a hill, but rather a bubbling formation of ectoplasmic goo called a ground hump?" Kirk gasped. "Those freaks! How dare they even think such disgusting thoughts of my property?" "I tell you, Kirk, good friend," said Trent, "one of them actually plans to get naked and dig a hole into the base of your hill, and he will burrow inside, performing an act known as zenching. He will zench the hump." This was all too much for Kirk. He saw the storm worsening outside. Flashing in the lightning, he could have sworn he saw someone in his yard. When he alerted Trent Hems of this, Trent Hems laughed. "Dear Kirk, you really are drunk, aren't you? Say, how about we do some shots of alcohol and then chocolate syrup?" Trent Hems then began dumping shots of tequila down Kirk's throat, followed by a spoonful of thick chocolate syrup. It was a delicious, jolly experience, and it provided time. Time for Turgot Tapid to drive the pickup truck into position. Time for her and Harriet Johanna to get the Caradisk off the bed of the truck and dug into the proper position. Half a mile away, Bishop Garrison fell headfirst into the soggy mud. He got back up, grabbed the wire, unspooled it as he forged along in the dark, hard rain. He had much longer to go. He was tired. His hand hurt. At a certain point in his trek, Bishop Garrison wondered how he got here, to this place, but he kept walking. To zench a hump is an incredibly difficult task. A skept may even think it's sexual. To get nude, to involve oneself in the orifices, goos, and vibrations of the realms between. Kirk Churpedley laughed as Trent Hems told him a long, engaging story. It was the best story Kirk Churpedley had ever heard. It had magic, gossip, and hilarious sexual innuendos in it. And even though he was drunk and distracted, he couldn't help but be enthralled. He felt his stomach sink, as if the floor was lowering. The lightning flashed. He saw the horizon rise. Perhaps he had drunk too much tequila and chocolate syrup. A truck drove off his property, mud flinging in its aftermath. Kirk blinked. There! Someone is out there!" said Kirk drunkenly. He wobbled to the ground. "The hill is sinking! The hill is sinking! Oh my gosh!" Trent Hems chuckled as Kirk Churpedley began vomiting all over his kitchen. The hill was not, in actuality, sinking. The hump was being zenched. The ground hump collapsed. Nettie Hoyt emerged, covered in goo. A wave of spiritual energies exploded from the hump, dispersing across the properties. Bishop Garrison finally saw the second Caradisc in the distance. He connected the wire to the Caradisc. He fell to the ground, exhausted. Kirk Churpedley woke up. He was tucked into his bed. Trent Hems entered the room. "Good morning, Sleepy," he said. "Come outside. I have something to show you." Head pounding, Kirk followed the enticer outside. When his eyes adjusted to the morning sun, he saw it. Pink, gurgling, bubbling ectoplasmic goo covered his property. A fire blazed by his garage. He turned to Trent, tears streaming down his stupid, ugly face. "What happened?" "You got drunk and we had a very fun dinner party." "But look," said Trent, "your swimming pool is completely fine.